guys, this one took a while to design. This is the Mark 3.2 backplate edition cooler. As you see, we got a lot more stuff in here. We got it's a lot more different. All right, so here we go. This is I actually ended up throwing away the original one. As you see, it's pretty messed up. I was taking off the screws, and there was just no way around it. So one thing between these two, so this is Mark 1, Mark 2, and then Mark 3. Technically 3.2 because there was a couple iterations of this, but we didn't print them, luckily. So as you can see, we'll go 1, 2, 3 real fast. And Mark 1 worked great. Only issue was the fan stuck up way too high. It wouldn't allow you to sit properly on a table, and that's about it. That's the main key difference. It's all warped up because I took the screws off. I didn't want to throw away the screws if they were still good and you could remove them. So this was a good stepping stone, and then through this design we created this one. This one is a lower profile, and rather than having our fan angled, pushing air through the center of the heat sink, or excuse me, heat shield, this is just pointing straight down. There is a little bit of a scoop down here that helps guide air up and through. And we also have these little tiny bumps here to help with noise, which actually worked quite well from what I can tell from my hearing. But that could be not these bumps, but more or less the fact that the fan is more recessed now. So that could be the reason why it was quieter. And we ultimately ended up scrapping this design, even though I liked it a lot, because of, I got a little fancy with it, mainly. We would have probably kept this design, dropped the fan a little bit lower down here. But I really wanted to make this thing all in one and put a fan controller on there. So this is where we get to Mark 3.2. And it's 3.2 because 3 and 1 didn't work very well from watching it, and I had to make some changes. But luckily I was able to just make changes in Tinkercad versus printing it and then making the changes. If you guys don't know what this is called support material, and particularly it's called a tree support material, which it branches out looking like a tree to help hold any angle that's over 45 degrees. So this is one of the pieces that broke off. These are great to use for if you're 3D printing things that need support. All right, so we're already seeing some deformations here. So if you look right here, you see all these ridge lines. We'll start off on top. So first of all, let's start with this. It is thicker, considerably thicker. See that? This is actually the lowest one, Mark 2. And then Mark 1 is actually still shorter than this one. And that's because this thing has a lot more things inside of it. And we'll talk about that in a second. But let's go back to here in this ridge, which is kind of fucked up. This ridge right here is to help air get through when it's laying flat. Because since it's taller, it's going to have to, the Steam Deck will have to lay on top of this, which is something I didn't want to do. But there was really no way around it with what I wanted to put in here. So now that we know that, you see there's holes here, you see this ledge here, you see we lost our things in there, and there's another hole here. Let's talk about what's going in. The powerhouse is a battery. So we're getting a battery in here, and the reason why we're using this fuel rod that I actually just found, I think my wife got this. Not only is it 5 volt and holds 2600 milliamp, it also has a charger on it. I ordered some lipos for this project to make it flatter, The only issue with lipos is how do you charge them? I'm not too savvy in the whole electrical world, so I honestly don't know what to do that, but I'm more than willing to figure it out. So this is how that works. It just goes right in there, it sits there, and we can plug in our fan that is actually gonna go into here, comes through there, and I just realized that we blocked it, but I think we can get around that. I did not think about that. Like we were literally blocking it with the battery. I should have put it over here. But I think we can get away with that. Mark 3.3 will have that. So that battery is gonna go in here, and it fits perfectly, other than this hole here. And now let's talk about this ledge. So the ledge is gonna hold our handy dandy fan controller. So this bad boy, it should fit here. Oh, there you go. Perfect. So it will sit against the Steam Deck, sits right on top here like that, and we can control our fan now. So we can drop the speeds, and it's going to be an all-in-one unit. The fan is exactly the same as the one we had prior. This one is a 5-volt though, so now we can easily power it with our battery or with our Steam Deck if we wanted to go that route. So there's also a hole here, so we'll start off by putting the fan in place, and we're going to shove this thing in here. And of course the hole's too small. I measured it, and the one thing about, and I gave it an extra millimeter too, that's the sucky part. The one thing about 3D printing is that even though you measure it perfectly, they don't print exactly perfectly. So there's a good, oh man, and I put it on the wrong spot. Dang it. So I put the hole on the wrong side. Let's see if I can just shove this thing in there. Well, I don't think I'll be able to shove that thing in there like that. Okay, so that sucks. What we're gonna do is just cut it open, I guess. I really don't want to do that, but 3.3, we'll make take a note of that and fix that in 3.3. So this is just part of that designing process. You know, that I keep talking about. This is a lot of it's a trial and error. Yeah, that's why my biggest motto. I have two mottos, two creeds I live by, or not creeds. If you ever meet me in person and you have a long conversation with me, I live by two creeds. You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. That includes content consumption, people you follow on social media and Instagram, and the only bad mistake you make is the one that kills you. So that's it. I think I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. So we have to somehow cut this out. Yes, we're gonna lose a little bit of rigidity, and then we're probably gonna have some issues, but we really cannot not put this, we cannot not do this, so we have to. And 3D printing is pretty strong, but not really. I've had a lot of comments after the last video, but I've had it the whole time. Like, people have consistently asked me, can you 3D print a backplate, or have you thought of 3D printing a backplate? And I was like, hell yeah. Problem with that is 3D printing, at least with PLA, and I know for the most part most other materials are not going to be that much better. They don't hold up very well when they're thinner than a millimeter or 2. And what I mean by that is all these little tiny clips here in the back that help hold the Steam Deck in place, these are gone. These will not transfer over to a 3D printed backplate. And a lot of these all these little like screw hole right here. Is that a screw hole? That's not a screw hole. That's a screw hole. These little pin things, these are going to be super duper weak. And also, I think whatever's holding these back buttons in place are just not going to be that great. It's just 3D printing is just not great for this. It's just not that great. I think it's very doable though. It's just not that gonna it's not gonna be great. It's gonna I'd rather if we can get some extra back shells on the cheap, I would much rather modify them because I think that's a path of least resistance. That's another shirt I should do, path of least resistance. So, all right, we made the hole a little bit bigger. That should be more than enough to slide the wire over. This is going to be the important one. This needs to go through that hole as well. We might actually have to make this hole wider. I totally blanked out on the placement on that. Oh man, this is a lot snugger than the previous version. Okay, so we got the fan in. We fucking made this a fucking gaping hole, but we had to because I measured it completely wrong. So what we're gonna do next is we are gonna glue this to place. So that should be pretty straightforward. I designed it so that it would basically fit like these other ones. Hopefully I didn't lose any of my screws. Should definitely put these in a tray, but I like to live my life dangerously. Right now weighs 132 grams, and honestly it's gonna weigh a little bit more when I pop this thing in there, but we'll leave that off for now. And the Steam Deck weighs 669 grams, so what's that total? 69 plus 32 is 90 plus 2, so that's 101. 101 plus 201, so 802 grams. No, 801 grams, sorry. 801 grams, which is, I don't know in pounds, but it's not too much heavier. We gain 132 grams. Technically, we lost a little bit of weight because we lost this, so not that much weight. It should fit just like the previous ones. Oh yeah, that looks great. And I didn't take the wire in consideration. The wire's running a little long right now. We could definitely shorten it on a later video. Real quick about this is we changed this to USB, I think USB-A. Originally, this was powered by SATA port. We had to cut the SATA, splice it into a USB A charge point. I tried a USB-C, and for some reason, the one I had running spare didn't work whatsoever. So it wasn't that big of a deal because I was going to use this battery operated one, and this one used USB-A. So it's basically going to go here, and we're going to plug it in right there. Yeah, man. And we'll clean up the cabling. Well, if I can get this thing in to plug in. And of course, this lip is in the way. Fuck. It's not that much in the way, but we could sand it down. I'm gonna sand it down real quick. If I angle it. Oh, there we go. Sweet. No problem. All right, see? We got a fan. It's working. Full speed. Pretty loud. And then this is 50%. Definitely can't hear it. And then this is the lowest speed possible. Definitely can't hear it. But it looks pretty good. All in all, look at this. Doesn't look too bulky. This little exposed wires here is for the power supply. I mean, not power supply, the motherboard. I didn't want to cut the whole thing off because I might use it for another project. So I left a little bit of skin on it so that I'm just going to put them together like that. And then this cable, I could literally cut more of this cable off, but for this purpose, I think this is going to suffice. We'll just try to keep it as neat as we can. All right, let's glue this thing in place. So we're going to glue it just like we did prior. So this is like the most important spot to get some hot glue on, in my opinion. Done this, what is this, my third time doing this now? Oh, I just realized another crux. It's going to be hard to put this screw in now. Huh. See? The world of engineering. I guess this is engineering, modding, tinkering, whatever you want to call it. Oversight. Huge oversight. But easily fixed. We can actually just easily pop this fan off if it becomes an issue and then glue it back into place because it's just hot glue. It's not too crazy. So we're just going to pop this bad boy out. It shouldn't be too crazy. I didn't put that much glue on it. Sweet. I do want to get a back plate on this bad boy. I mean, not back plate. Oh, the copper plate in here. But for this set of testing, we're not going to do the back plate. The copper plate. I kind of want to see how well this standalone system works before I start adding more to it. And everything should just fit just fine. No problem. It's pretty much the same as before. We do have the air gap here because of this controller. I wanted to place the controller in here or somewhere else, but I did not, and I chose this top spot not for any other reason except for this thing is too tall. This controller is very, very tall, and I knew that it was going to be a problem to have it sit like this, because then you have to go inside and reach in and dial it, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that. So I technically could have put it here, but the problem with that though is because of these cords, it was too long to fit here with the battery. Technically there's enough room to put it here, but then that's where the fan goes. So I said, pathly, fuck it, I'm just gonna put it in the exterior and put it flush with this. So luckily I didn't have to raise the height on this. It was already the height of this, so it kind of worked out perfectly. So we're going to glue this thing now. Glue this thing back down. Just a quick zigzag. Nothing too crazy. Don't need a lot. And that's the beauty of hot glue. It's like, it holds very well, and it doesn't leave too much residue if you clean it off properly. And then we're just gonna plug this bad boy in. See, here's the problem. Does this automatically turn things on? I think it automatically turns things on. I did not think about it. There's no power switch, unless this is a power switch. Is that a power switch? No. So it's always on, forever on. Cool. It just sucks that there's no on and off switch. Oh, there is off switch. So you turn that off. You press this button. That's the green button. That's the never stop button. You turn all that off. You turn this all the way to the right. You get Bob's your uncle. I got a fan to fit. I can fit this. Oh yeah. And some love taps. Alright, that's never gonna come out. A little bowed. This is the hole that's all fucked up, not the thing. Alright, so there should still, even though this should, when it's laying flat, should still have enough air, some slight ventilation. So it's not going to be the end of the world. Oh, shit. I took this off to put this screw. Oh, my God. All right, we're not going to have that screw in. I'm sorry. That's an important screw, too. Actually, no. Yeah, that's this is a fuck. Gosh, damn it, Nas. All right. You're getting ahead of yourself. I'm gonna pause the video because I don't want this thing to, oh my God, 20 minutes. All right, I'm gonna pause it. All right, here we go. We are completely untethered. We're back into The Witcher 3. I actually never turned it off. And the game just crashed because I so this thing is pissing me off again. I'm gonna unplug that. And if you have this SSD issue, we'll just do a quick tutorial. I think the way I fixed it, first of all, let me get rid of this fucking overlay. But what I need to do is hit install real quick. Let it start installing. And then pause it. Pause the install. Oh, go back into the game. Hit the manage. Oop. Move from hidden and hit uninstall. Uninstall. Boom. Cool. Then back out and it should just plug in. Perfect. Hit the Witcher. Perfect. See? So if you run into the issue popping SSDs out, all you got to do is download it for a little bit, cancel, download, delete it, put your SSD back in. Bob's your uncle. All right. So that while this loads, wait, we gotta wait for the screen. Okay. I'm well aware of that. Let's talk about the rear. Oh man, this thing looks great. So it does turn off, and we can. Right now, it's all completely off and roll down. So weight wise, is it noticeably heavier? Yes. Is it that much heavier? No. So our original weight was 669 grams, probably a little bit more because we cut out some of the back plate. But we added 132 grams, so we only added essentially 15% more weight, essentially. So we didn't add that much weight. Plus, we're not tied to the battery. Unfortunately, we have to charge this thing independently, you know. We got to take a used micro USB-C, plug it in here to charge this. We'll probably have to we might have to take this out to charge it, but I think we'll be okay. And that's the way we charge it. But it's 2600 milliamp hours. So this thing was meant to charge phones. So I don't know how much time we'll have with this fan. Well, I guess we could do a fan test. It's full charge right now. But I doubt we'll actually even. We technically don't even need this fan. We're just doing this for fun. Like, this is kind of unnecessary in my opinion. The fan's on. It's so cool though. That's so cool. I love it. In this full tilt. Fucking badass. It's fucking badass. All right, so what we want to do is heat up the system just a little bit, just so we can get a kind of a see how well it cools down with or without the fan. Heat this system up with this, which you guys really shouldn't do this at home as well, because you know, heating the system very quickly is just never ever really good. It sits flat on the table now. There's a little bit of a wobble to it. We got to put this on there because we're minus 18C, and then actually I put it here and now it won't sit flat if I put it there. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Oh, let's plop it on there. Yeah, that's pretty good for an eyeball. You guys are probably like, that's crooked. So crooked, Nos. To do this in our last video. If you guys are curious where I got DIY Poppy, I'm a big Drake fan. And Drake's Instagram handle is Champagne Poppy. So I was like, I love champagne. Hey, I love tinkering. I love DIY. I'm a Poppy. Why did I call myself DIY Poppy? Because I am actually dead. All right, so we're pretty warm. So see, without active cooling, we're at 71 on the high end. So let's just call it 70 and 73. Fan speeds at 4100 RPMs. I think that's about, well, we might drop a little bit lower than that. But let's go ahead and let's kick this bad boy on. So we're at the lowest fan speed. the lowest fan speed. Are we? Hold on. That's max. So we're at the lowest fan speed right now. And now we're dropping well below 70 on the GPU. My big thing is I want to see if I can get this RPM on the stock fan turned down, because I'm sure you guys can hear it right now. That's the stock fan. That's not even our new fan. Our new fan's silent. Dude, I've probably played this game more on testing than I've actually played a game. So I think I started playing this game. I got 7 hours in or something like that. And now I'm at 21 hours. And so that means 14 hours were just me running around in the same town trying to push the Steam Deck. Okay, so we're actually going up in temps, but our fan speed has dropped. Oh, it's going back up. All right, so clearly that this low speed is not good enough. So we're going to go to 50%. 50% is barely audible. That is the intake fan noise that you were just hearing. It's barely audible. But my question is can we get this main fan to chill if we got the other fan speed up? On later videos, what I want to do is take out the heatsink that's behind here and really change it out and put our heat sinks on each component individually. I want to repaste the whole Steam Deck. I want to do all that, but I want to try to do it to near stock configuration. So if you were to do this mod without doing any of that stuff, I want to see what kind of results you would get. There goes that random ramp up again. It completely runs differently when you're running around versus standing still. So let's stand still for a bit. That way we can get really close to accurate reading. What is the room temp right now? 18.6 degrees. Was it over here? 18.4. Was it in the ceiling? 18.4. All right, so it's 18 and a half degrees in here, which is kind of cold. Yep, we still got the 4,000 RPMs. Our temperature is about the same, 69, 73, as it was without the fan on, or not too far off, within 2 degrees. That's why I was saying, sorry, I keep moving. That's why I was saying it's probably, you really don't need this fan. It's just, this fan is kind of just for fun, I guess you could say. It was good. Minus 18C, y'all. I wrote it, I put it down, I actually even put it on the product that this thing will do. Oh, I can't even read it because it's upside down. That this thing will take your Steam Deck down to minus 18C. Yep, I wrote it down. Oh, I forgot to put up to minus 18C. God damn it, I fucked up. Now it's not true. But yeah, that's what JSOX is claiming. That's an inside joke. If you've been watching a lot the previous video, JSOX claims that their exhaust cooler will drop your temperatures by 18C, and I just don't believe that. I don't believe it. I'm not gonna buy it. I was thinking about buying it, and then I guess if hey, how about this? If we hit 1,000 subs, I'll buy it and we'll test it. Okay, fan just ramped up back to 4,000. So it's going up. It's going up. Now let's just, it's not stabilizing, so it's just going up. So let's turn it to the max. We're on full tilt now. There are a couple things happening different. Obviously, our first version was way better right now. It was lighter and it was cooling a lot better. Not sure why this one's not cooling as well. I will say there's less space inside the rear hatch now. Because we have a big ass battery there, and also the battery might be getting hot as well, so it could also be heating up the system. Everything's within margin though, temperature wise. Not too off maybe 2 degrees on the CPU, but my main concern is this fan, man. I really want this fan speed to be, I like seeing that fan speed at 3,400 RPMs, 3,500 RPMs a lot. So let's just keep this thing on and see how well it will cool the system down. Okay, so I think 3800 is probably where we're gonna probably sit for the most part. Definitely, if we didn't heat up the system and started it off cooler, it probably would hold a lower RPM for longer, but for how much longer? So this would probably be closer to 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay, I would assume, if you had the fan for at least the medium. We can definitely do more testing like that. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna power the Steam Deck off slightly, just real quick. I'm going to let this run for about 10-15 seconds to kind of cool the system down passively real fast. And I also want to feel if I do feel heat coming off the top still, so that means air's getting pushed through and in through these vents. Yeah, it's fun. That's crazy. I feel the heat. Ooh, I got glue there. Honestly, I don't think you need to go full tilt. I think we could probably get away with 50 and have basically the same results as 100%, because I don't think it matters because of the heat shield in here. There's a heat shield back here that's not actually really getting cooled down with this fan. This intake fan is just to pull air in so that our exhaust fan doesn't have to work so hard, and it's just a afterthought or after effect that this fan's actually cooling that heat shield. If we take that heat shield out, that silver thing in the back, and we put our heat sinks on each component that we want to cool down, this system will stay a lot cooler by none. And that's going to be actually our next test, taking off the heat shield and cooling all of the system down. So we've ramped up in fan speed by 300 RPMs. Our temps are still good, 69, 73. 73, real quick, guys. The 82 degrees that the Steam Deck was running in on prior to this is 100% fine. It's 100% fine and it's safe. So you technically do not need to mod your Steam Deck. The main reason why I modded the Steam Deck was because that fucking fan noise. Anything over 4,500 RPMs is annoying. And notice that we don't even have any game audio on. So let's turn the game audio on to, let's do 30%. Fan is near unaudible with 30%. And I like playing without headphones. Even though I have decent headphones, actually they're pretty good. I much prefer not playing with headphones. 30%, 33%, you cannot hear gameplay in the fan whatsoever. And if you crank this thing up to 50, you're not hearing it. And our fan speed just up to 4,000. If we could stay around 4,000 RPMs, that'd be great. Let's turn up the fan speed just a tad bit. Okay, we're about like 60, 70%. I can hear the whine. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but I'll be quiet. Okay, so yeah, this whine, I don't know if you can hear it over the game audio. The high pitch one is this lower fan, our intake fan. And that's where it's kind of like too noisy. So anything above 50% is way too noisy, in my opinion, for this system. So it's like 50% or nothing for me, just for that. Like, but it's not that much better. See, that's what I was talking about when we went fanless, no fan. It's not that much better. 71, 73 at 4,000 RPMs is like great. Like that's really good. That is better than what we had when we cut the backplate. And the reason why it's better now is because we're actually cooling most of the system, because we're pulling most of our air through this hole, which in turn is cooling down the heat sink. I mean the heat shield. And yeah, it's just overall going to work better. Look, our temps went up slightly. All of this stuff is fine. This is really good. This is really good temps. You don't need the fan. Like the fan is unnecessary. It's just my gluttonous for tinkering and punishment is the reason why that fan's in there. Really want this fan speed to go up. Let's see. Just run around. Once things start to heat up a little bit more, that fan speed's going to start cranking. This is all safe temps though. 72, 74 is amazing temps for the Steam Deck. Amazing. Like, it's amazing. 75. Okay, come on. This thunderstorm is probably going to help us crank up the heat. Anything below like 78 is, in my opinion, is probably phenomenal. You're gonna see all maximum output of the whole system. You're not gonna have to worry about any like issues. So 42, 43. There's the climb. Now this is now louder than with the fan on 50. So 50% fan speed will drop us 300 RPMs, which will make the audio fan, the stock fan, a lot quieter because it is noisier than our intake fan, because it is a blower style fan. I want to see if it goes up anymore. Temps are great though, 71, 75. That's amazing. That's perfect. Once we get heat sinks on each individual component and repaste the, I don't think we'll need to repaste the APU. Oh, our temps are dropping. Yeah, it's like 300 RPMs more without the fan. And honestly, it'd probably be better, slightly better, because you wouldn't have more. This thing is actually, blocking air. If this was just a gaping hole, then it would even work even better. So, with that said, definitely love it. Had a lot of fun designing this thing. It works. It's great. The fan controller works. It's all self-sufficient. It's pretty cool that we can turn this on and off now. We definitely hit our minus 18C. We didn't, y'all. We did not. I don't know what JSOX got this 18C. I don't think you can get a better cooling solution than this. Obviously, if we did intake and exhaust, we could definitely do it. But I honestly, like, putting in exhaust, I just don't think that's necessary. And when we open up the system and cool every component that runs hot, take the heat shield off, we're going to dissipate heat even faster, because that heat shield's holding heat in place. Remember, it works both ways. It's absorbing heat and holding heat in the same spot. So with that heat shield gone, air can move over the components a lot easier, which means it can go up and through and out here. But if we were to take out that heat shield, I definitely think it is important to have this exhaust fan, only because that heat shield really tied all the components together and allowed the system to dissipate that heat throughout. But without that heat shield, we're going to lose that. So we have to have a fan to keep everything cool. Okey-dokey smoky. All right, here we go. It is done, and I'm very happy with this. We got our black plate mod, back plate mod with our battery pack. The battery pack is 2600 milliamp hours. I don't know the voltages on it's 5 volts, 2600 milliamp hours, so it should last a pretty long time. I'm gonna try to do some fan tests, full charge, running at 50 and 100, and see how long those last. I'm sure it's gonna last a pretty long time. But like I said during the video, and I've said to the prior one, you don't even need the fan at all, period. But it is cool to have it. It's just, this is just to make it look cooler. Turn this light on. And I'm very happy with the results. I'm happy that we were able to get it all in one go. We could still do some things right here, like I'm gonna 3D print a little cap here so that we can hide this hole. And we do still have some holes behind this thing, which we can easily fill up with a newer version of this, or just fill it up with hot glue. It doesn't really matter. As you can see, it's pretty easy to take hot glue gun off if you have a heat gun. But enough about this beauty, that minus 18 degrees Celsius, which is not I'm literally just a troll towards JSOX. Let's talk about what we comparative to every other mod that we did. So let's start off with the stock on the bottom. And one thing you'll notice is our temperatures are pretty close. I think the only time is when we did the backplate mod, the very first one. It was a little cooler. It was a lot. It was earlier in the morning, so it was 17.5. So I would honestly, in my opinion, those are all pretty damn close to each other when it 1.5 degrees. So I wouldn't pay it too much mind. But if you want to, it's up to you. I don't. I think it's all within margin. So we'll start off with a stock 80 to 79. And that's the worst result, stock. And remember, it's stock in brackets. Is it parentheses? In parentheses, because remember we had thermal pads during that test. So yours are gonna run hotter than my stock, because my stock had thermal pads. And so the best mod obviously was the one prior to this, which was the fan mod, when the fan was angled blowing in and we had to plug it in externally. So if you didn't see that video, I'll tag it here and you can see that. And then the worst results that we got out of all our testing was our first mod, which was just the fan mod. That's when we cut the hole right here in the dead center and reduced all air resistance. That was great results, 74, 73. But it is the worst of all the mods we did. The best results we had was, like I just said, the prior one to this. And now that we kind of upgraded the system, we did the backplate mod and we added the battery and the controller, which is the one on the top, meaning we just gained 72 on the CPU. Oh, I didn't even tell you. The red is the CPU, the blue is GPU, so the higher number is always going to be the CPU. We gained 2 degrees on our CPU, but our GPU temp stayed the same. Don't really understand why that happened. It could just be a fluke in the testing that day. But for the most part, they were pretty close to being the same, especially with the deep GPU temperatures. And now the most important one is this one right here. All right, so this fan speed. Okay, so I think this is like the most important one for me. So stock fan speed is 5,100 RPMs. I've had stock fans run at 5,500 RPMs, but the testing I did that day was at 5,100. The fan mod itself was 3,800. Copper was the same with 3,800. And then the backplate mod, which was the coolest temperature, when we had the fan, once again, was angled, pushing through the heatsink. That was the best overall fan speed at 3,600. And the BP backplate mod with the batteries, 3,800. One thing I want to say with the backplate mod with the battery, that's running full tilt, meaning 100% on the fan. And we did the testing on just the backplate mod at 100% as well. Like we did it all at 100%. So those figures are going to be the same. There's one caveat: the backplate mod, the 3,600 RPM, was with a 12 volt fan and not a 5 volt, but I believe they are both the same speeds and essentially the same fan. One's just 12 volt, one's a 5 volt. And so I don't think there's going to be too much variance between the two. I wouldn't throw away the evidence. So with all that said, clearly the backplate mod worked the best. It just worked the best. So the next thing we're going to do, which I'm going to do right now after this video, is to go ahead and do the tests all again. Not all again. To do the next version of this, there's going to be one more version of this, as it is with all the, actually no. This is going to be essentially the final form of this version. What's going to happen next is we are going to do a backplate mod that's just a vent. There's going to be no fan at all. And what we're going to tie that into is when you want to go to dark mode, we're going to use not our Mark II. We're going to redesign the Mark II. It's going to be the Mark III. And what it's going to do is going to tie these two systems in tandem. So the Steam Deck will only have the ventilation backplate, which works. We've done the testing and it works great. And we'll do more testing on it. But if you want more performance, we're going to basically take everything that's in here, add it to the Mark II, which will become the Mark III, so that when you're in dock mode, you can crank the fan up if you really want to push the system. But I just remembered, so that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a real fun one. But I just remembered, we're actually, the next video is going to come out tomorrow, where we take off, we put the copper plate. We're going to do a copper plate, see how the copper plate runs with this system configuration. And we're going to see how it runs with removing the heatsink, no copper plate, and putting little tiny heat sinks on all our hotter running components, and running another test doing it that way. That way we get the full gamut. And then what we're gonna do actually after that is then we're gonna transition to the passive cooled one, meaning no fan, just gonna be a vent hole in the bottom, so it's gonna allow all the air to come hit the heat shield and up throughout to the fan. And then then we're gonna go into the main dock main dock video. But that's the plan I have in my head right now, and that might change. I don't know yet. That might change, but for the foreseeable future, that's what's gonna happen. But yeah, I think that's it. This was a lot of fun, guys. Hopefully you guys liked this video a lot. I had a lot of fun showing it to you. I just want to say, you know, we've jumped 200. You know, I started this channel like a long time ago. But I never really gave it too much attention. But thanks to you guys, we jumped from 46 subscribers to almost 300 subscribers now, or we're knocking on 300 door, which is not a huge thing, but it's pretty big for me, considering I was just like, I just did this because it's just fun. I just want to say really huge thank you for everyone that's hitting that like, subscribe, sharing this with all your friends, so we can just do these fun mods more together, have a nice community around it. And I just want to also say thank you to, and pretty much everyone that's been commenting has been pretty freaking nice in the comments, and I really appreciate that. And don't feel like you need to, you know, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. If you have something critical, like you have a question, or like, why did you do that, or how, like why do you think that you can do that without sacrificing this? If you have a question, there's no stupid questions. All right, here's a motto, a creed I like. I'm a guy that likes a lot of mottos and creeds. Wise men only ask stupid question once, right? That's it. So that means it's only a stupid question. It's only a really stupid question if you have to ask it twice. So doesn't matter if you have a question, however, if you think it's an intelligent one or a stupid one, doesn't matter. Ask the question. Maybe I can help you out answer it. Maybe someone else in our little group can answer it. And if you guys have any other ideas, please throw them out. The backplate idea, I mean, that attaches to a dock, was one of our commenters gave that one. I don't remember your name. Sorry, I apologize, but I'm gonna get, when I do that video, you're gonna get big shout outs, because you're the one that kind of guided me into that path. And other than that, before I keep talking, because you know I can keep talking, I just want to say thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.